Welcome to Mom Meets World, a podcast talking all things motherhood, friendships, and life. We're your hosts, Alaina Brookmeyer
and Peyton Saraiva. We have a lot of ground to cover, so let's dive right in.
Hey, y'all.
Hey, welcome back to another episode of Mom Meets World. We have an awesome topic today, and it's all about me time, talking about how do we balance finding times for ourselves, parenting, being present for our kids, but also remember, we need that mental health hot girl walk. We need that time in the car to listen to a podcast, or we need a massage. But trying to find a way to purposely plan ahead so your mind and your body can completely unwind from some of those stressors of childhood, parenting, and just kind of balancing it all. It's a really good episode, guys. We kind of spill the tea on how we feel about it, and I'm excited for you guys to hear it. Are you ready to dive in?
Perfect. So let's go ahead and dive in.
Hi, okay, dokie. So happy Easter to you out there in Phoenix. How are you? How has your week been? Tell us everything.
Yeah, good. I know. So by the time this recording comes out, Easter has already passed. But today it's Easter in America. But for you, you already got to celebrate, and we'll dive into that in a second. But yeah, I mean, our Easter has been good. We just did a little reel the other day of like showing Chloe her little Easter egg hunt at school. My heart just like melted away. It's completely dissolved at this point. Like that was just so freaking special and precious for me to experience, because like it was my first kind of hands-on being a mom parent, you know what I'm saying, like at school. Like Chloe's in school, I get to actually like help hide the eggs and quote unquote volunteer, you know what I'm saying. So that was like really fun to just be hands-on like that, and I feel very like grateful to be in that position because I know a lot of other parents aren't able to. So that was really special. And there were so many eggs. Like these kids got spoiled, but like in the best way possible. We were like, there was other moms helping and like grandmas helping to space out and hide the eggs. But we were like, there's no more hiding spots. Like we just have to just have these be out in the open, and the kids just have to find them. And it was the perfect amount of kids too, and like the perfect little area. Because you know how sometimes there's just like, you blink and all the eggs are already taken. Yeah. We just went to a little event like that yesterday, which was insane because it was like at a big place like outside of the aquarium, and there were so many kids and families, and like Chloe didn't even get one egg for the ages 0 to 3 like lineup. So I'm really glad that she got that school experience, because obviously very much more appropriate and fair and blah blah blah. So that was very cute for me to witness. And I even gave her the heads up before, because I'm like, okay, so Mama's going to help the Easter Bunny hide those eggs while you're in class. And then when you guys come out, I will be here, but eyes on the prize, Chloe. Eyes on the prize. Don't get distracted by me. Find those eggs. It's just like trick-or-treating. Put it in your basket. And so I was kind of like coaching her. So yeah, other than that, like we've had a pretty darn chill Easter weekend, just like lots of family dinners, you know, with Ben's parents being out here, and like just extra special time with them. I'm about to, after this recording, run over to their house and watch Chloe do her final egg hunt. And she did the old school, making like hard-boiled eggs with her Nana and like doing the dye and everything. So she's going to hunt for those when I get there. So yeah, that's wrapping up our actual Easter celebration. And I did want to fill everyone in on Chloe starting her therapy, because I know I addressed that, especially like going into the potty training episode a few episodes ago. And so she had her very first in-person session last week, and we're about to have our second one tomorrow. And, you know, nothing groundbreaking because it was the very first one, but the kind of format was, you know, I went with her. I waited in the little waiting lobby for 40 minutes. And then the last 15 or 20 minutes of the session, I got to be in there with her. And then the therapist would kind of like chat with me, fill me in, ask me a little bit more questions. So yeah, she, a cute little thing is the therapist drew stick figures of our family for Chloe to kind of describe each of the people in our family. And Chloe does this thing, I don't know if Cooper does it, but like it must be their age where she's kind of joking and pretending. So if I know she's not being serious about something, I have to check in with her. Chloe, is that a joke? Like, are you pretending? Are you just playing? And she's like, yeah, that's just a joke. And so after I met up with the therapist, she's like, so she said that her dad was nice, but then she said he was actually not nice. And then I was like, Chloe, were you joking, or do you actually think that about your dada? like either way, like what you think is what you think, but the therapist needs to know the truth. And she's like, oh, that was just a joke. I'm
Oh
like,
my
oh, so you
God.
think dad does nice though, right? And and she was like, yeah, dad does nice. I love him. I'm like, okay, okay. So
Was
Chloe,
this in front
moving
of the
forward.
therapist?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank goodness. Yeah. So we're setting the tone. But anyway, so each session, I think, the therapist is going to get to know Chloe more, and hopefully Chloe understands a little bit more of what's going on too. But the main takeaways as of right now are quote unquote like little homework is to understand and be more on the same page with her school, since that seems to be where like the timeline of when her potty training really started to like backtrack a little bit. So, but there's not anything huge like of difference. It's just so interesting. But I'll continue to keep everyone and you posted. And yeah, so fingers crossed tomorrow we get a little bit more insight into everything. And another thing that I'm wanting to address with the therapist, because I brought this up to you recently of Chloe's really scared of monsters lately. And it gets to be a lot because she'll scream about it. And there's nothing specific that I can pick up on that like triggers her to just all of a sudden think that there's monsters. And it could be the morning, right? Like, the first hour of her waking up. It's not right when she's going to bed or like coming out of her dark room or anything like that. So yeah, I'll have lots to share as I learn. And the last little thing that we're approaching, because coming into this week, it's actually one of my other best friends, like very, very, very special wedding. And it's going to be in Miami. And I'm the co-matron of honor because I'm co with her sister. And I originally know Julia. Hi, Julia. I'm so excited from college. So she's one of my college besties. And like, we've never lived in the same state from each other. So we've always had that like, just like really tight, but long distance bond. So it's going to be really special to see her tie the knot with her fiance. And it's been also a long time coming because like we've been planning, or she's been planning. I feel like I've been holding her hand through it, but like throughout the whole past like over a year, I think that they booked this venue, and it's going to be so freaking gorgeous. I'm so excited. And like Ben and I, how it goes, like chose our outfits for each little like the welcome drinks and the rehearsal dinner. And she's kind of doing the thing where she is not having like a separate bachelorette party or bridal shower. She's kind of having it flow into everyone visiting for that same trip. So we're going to have the bridal shower and the small bachelorette dinner like that same day, a couple of days before the wedding. So it's going to be all really jam packed, but super excited for that. So I'm excited to report back on how that goes. And yeah, just a really exciting time.
Who's watching
Nana
Chloe?
and Papa. Nana and Papa are built-in babysitters now. I feel so spoiled and like so grateful. But yeah, so they'll probably bounce back like between their houses of maybe they'll have her do a few naps at their house since they have the setup there for her. Her room is pretty much settled in. And I would assume that she'll do all nighttime sleep here. And Cabo, our dog, is totally comfortable going over there. So yeah, I feel comfortable going and doing that. So yeah.
Well, that's amazing.
Yes. I'm very excited for it. And I'll give you guys all the deets as we go along. But yeah, fill me in on your like Easter weekend and all that. I know jumping off a bridge was involved and I haven't heard the details yet. So spill.
Yes. Well, okay. So it's so interesting. I think we had very different Easter experiences. Like, and it's so interesting that like we both probably were raised in the same way, but did things so different. Like, so Cooper thinks the Easter Bunny is real. And it's like, I never told him we hid the eggs and we did the Easter egg hunts at our house, and we treat the Easter Bunny similar to Santa. So like the Easter Bunny comes to our house. We hide the eggs in our house. The Easter Bunny left Cooper some nice gifts, like his basket, but then the basket was then used to do this Easter egg hunt. And so like at school, we didn't do an Easter egg hunt. And like now we're really around town, did they do like a big Easter egg hunt? So how interesting are those differences? I guess even just, I don't know if that's culturally a thing, but for us, like Easter Sunday is like we go to sleep that night. Easter Bunny comes the next morning. We woke up. He went out and had, he got some gifts. He got like a really cool tent, like a pop-up spaceship tent, and then a couple little odds and ends. But he had like this big Easter egg hunt in the house and down in our like backyard and front yard. And we had like the Easter Bunny footprints around the house, which kind of was really cutesy. And the Easter Bunny ate the carrots that we left out for him. So interesting how different they are. But we have our friends Sep and Britt in town, which those are just some of our best friends. We've known them for years now. And it's so funny. Like, I think someday Cooper's going to look back and go, Sep and Britt were at all of our major holidays because they were here for Christmas. They were here for Easter last year, Easter this year. So that was really fun. And it's just been such a beautiful weather weekend. It's been in like the 80s and 85. So like we spent all day at the beach yesterday, got so much sun. I'm looking at my cheeks in the mirror and going, wow, I definitely got a lot of sun yesterday, which I'm here for it because I think winter's coming. But a really fun highlight of the trip is Naruma has this beautiful bridge. It's kind of what we know for. It's how you kind of, it's like on a highway, but it's how you get from one part of our town to the other part of town. And it's been on our little bucket list, like our Naruma bucket list is to like jump off the bridge into the inlet. And so yesterday actually it was Saturday, all of us kind of climbed up the bridge, and it's a bit sketchy and it's illegal for sure, but you kind of like have to climb up, run along the road, like when there's no cars coming, climb over, and then you hop into the creek. And it was a really good time. And I was hoping the video was going to turn out better, but my chicken butt, Chase got up there first, did his big jump with everyone, and it was awesome. And then he's like, babe, come on, let's do it together. I was like, all right. Well, we get there, we're holding hands, getting ready to jump. And I was like, 1, 2, and then he like goes to jump, and he was like trying to come back, because I was like, no. And so he like plops in the water, like very like not jumpy. So then I'm standing up there nervous, my hands are shaking, and I look over at Britt, and she's filming, and I just see Cooper, and he's like, go mommy, go. And I was like, all right, I gotta be brave for my kid, I gotta do it. So we did I counted to myself, and I jumped in, and I don't know, it was such a fun feeling. And it's not that tall, it was probably like 4 meters high, so like
I was gonna ask,
groundbreaking by any stretch. Like the chances of us getting hurt would actually be more running from the car, or like from the bridge to where we jump off, because there's cars coming. That's the more dangerous part as opposed to the actual jump into the water. But it was great, and Chase was there catching me. Like he was swimming upstream to like make sure when I landed he could like hug me, and it was so cute because he's like paddling against the stream trying to like come meet me, which is cute. And in the video you see, oh yay, mommy daddy do it, and it's really sweet. I'll show you, I'll try to like clip it out so it doesn't look so anticlimactic of me like waiting at the bridge trying to psych myself out, come on, you can do it. But that was good. And a lot of our love language is just like cooking big meals, having like good wines with our friends. And like they got down here, Britt and I did a massive shift at the brewery, and then 2 of our friends came over Friday night for wines, and then all week we've just cooked and eat and drank and gone to the beach. And it's just been so nice, because typically Easter down here is really cold. It's kind of like where it turns into autumn, but we had this really awesome like hot wave, plus the waves are super, super, super tall. So it's been like pretty historic wave heights. And so everyone's been down at the beach watching the waves and having such a good time. And so 10 out of 10, no notes from the weekend, nothing I would change. They're still here. They're out taking Cooper on a bike ride with their dogs down along the coast. And Britt's been sending me updates of Cooper riding his big boy bike down all around town. So it's been really, really fun.
It's good that they live like close enough to come for like a long weekend, and like be there for those holidays, since you guys don't have family out there, so I feel like it's good to create your own family like you have going on with them. So that's really special. And I love those little details of like you're incorporating your childhood into now Cooper's childhood, of all the little like Easter egg and having the bunny be like Santa Claus, because I haven't thought of that too much, but I know that that's a big thing too, is just like there's gifts involved too. And like the Easter bunny is definitely like a thing. And I guess like Chloe, I told her, the Easter bunny is helping us hide the eggs, but he had to literally hop to a different school so he wouldn't be there when she went to go find the eggs. So he helped the moms and like the parents and stuff hide the eggs, but he had to jet. So in that way, I guess it's similar. But yeah, very cute, very good holiday.
It was good.
Yeah. Well, speaking of gifts and all that good stuff, we do have like our moments. So giving a little shout out for some products. And I was thinking like with Cooper's birthday coming up so soon, and then Chloe's just passed. So I kind of wanted to see like if you had anything up your sleeve as far as like what you might recommend for a little birthday gift for like a about 3-year-old.
Yes. So our absolute go-to gift at the moment to give anyone in that age range. So it's like a little astronaut man. It's probably the size of I would say a little bit bigger than your cell phone, but you plug it into the wall. and you can do it in the bathtub, like not in the bathtub, but in the bathroom for bath time or in your room at night. And it puts a constellation on the ceiling. We're in a very big astronaut world at the moment. Cooper loves Earth and moon, but it's really cool
Aw.
because it projects like the stars on the ceiling, stars and the moon, and then it changes colors and the whole room glows. And it's really cool because it looks like an astronaut. The projection comes out of the astronaut's like goggles, which is really cool. And it's so fun. So we'll do it in the bathtub, kind of makes the bath time a little bit more fun, and it doesn't go so dark, but you need to have the kind of the lights off. So that's really fun. But we mostly do it at night right before bed. We'll go up and we'll look at the Earth and we'll talk about which planets there are, and we'll kind of chat through which stars or that is. And it kind of leads into one of Cooper's big gifts we're going to be giving him is a telescope for his birthday, because he loves every night we go outside and look at the stars and the moon. And he's like, can I see what's on the moon? Can we see it? And we'll look pictures on the computer of the moon, but he like wants to see it. And so we found a really cool, like, it's in like the $50 to $80 range, but it's like a kid's telescope that really can help like show where the stars are, if that's a planet or if that's, you know, a satellite. So we're kind of in that phase at the moment, and it's been so much fun to see him kind of like get excited about that sort of stuff.
That's adorable. And then like, is he learning about, what is it called? Waning and waxing for the moon, right?
Exactly. Meaning waxing. Is it a full moon or is it a crescent moon? And I have a crescent moon tattoo on my ankle, and he'll be like, Mommy, it looks like your tattoo. And I'll be like, yeah, bud, it's so cute. Like he's kind of like starting to really, I would say like branch out from like, I wouldn't say like he's got his ABCs down, right? So now it's kind of been fun to learn like the planet order and all these different types of things that he's interested in. And I think this is a good phase that Chase is loving, because he's wanting to do more, just a little bit more. And he gets to be more hands-on with daddy and do certain things like that. So it's been really, really, really fun. But what about you? What did you guys...
I was going to say, like, especially at night, though, because when Chase is done with work, he can actually be a part of those activities and, like, look out into the stars and stuff.
It's cute. It's kind of like becoming part of our nightly routine, which sometimes it's really great. And other times it's like, go say goodnight to the moon again. I'm like, babe, we've said goodnight to the moon 3 times. Time for bed. No more stalling. As we all know, kids love to stall.
Okay. So yeah, since Chloe's birthday actually just passed and she was spoiled in the best way, she actually got the best gift from my dad, actually. But kind of like what you were saying, Cooper like stalls, right? And so does Chloe, especially when we're trying to get to bed, and it drives me bonkers. But she does truly enjoy these golden books, right? Like you're aware of the little golden binding, and they're classics. So it comes with like a lot of what I might consider the classics or like traditional books. And then there's a lot of like older school, like stories that maybe are original to the Golden Book series. So my dad got her a whole set of the princess stories, like Disney princess. And it has like the old school ones like Snow White and Little Mermaid. And then it has maybe a couple of newer ones like Brave, which I was never really familiar with. But she loves it. But so the hard part is she'll pour out all the books and she'll want one book and she'll say, guess which one is Snow White? And then I'll have to point to each one until we get to Snow White. And even if we get to Snow White by book 3, and maybe there's like, I don't know, at least 8 to 12 books. I don't know. I didn't count them. But even if we get to Snow White, I'll say, okay, set it Snow White aside. And then she'll be like, okay, guess which book this is that's left over. I'm like, Chloe, I can't. You're driving me crazy, girl. So, and then to read the actual books, that's a whole nother story. So it's just a lot of big time commitment, but she freaking loves them, and she loves reading in general. And it's an extra game. It's an extra activity to her. So highly recommend Golden Books or a set like that. Time commitment, little alarm there. But the other thing that we were gifted is we all know and love Bluey. And so there's this little, like, I don't know, maybe like less than a foot tall, like pretty short little figure, and it's called Hide and Seek Bluey. Have you seen these at all? There's so many Bluey toys. Anyways, so you push its little nose, and there's someone who hides it, and there's someone who counts and like is going to be the seeker. So the person who hides it, right when they find a little hiding spot, you push Bluey's nose, and it kind of starts the game. And then every like 10 to 15 seconds, she'll give a little like hint, not there, and then she'll do a little giggle, hee hee hee, until the person goes and finds her. And then when the person finds her, you get to push the nose again. And then it goes, yay. And then it does the little dance party jingle. Yay. And Chloe like freaks out about the part. She friggin' loves it. She just wants to do the dance party all the time. And it's really adorable. So highly recommend that one, especially for this age group.
I like that a lot. I think that's taking me back to when we were younger. There were these calls. I think they were called like woobies, and they were like these little weird, like big dolls, and their babies, their bodies would like open up, and a baby would come out, but it would go wub wub sleepy, and it was like creepy. But I remember so vividly at my
I was about to
grandma,
say
my
that's so
nanny's
creepy.
house at nighttime, and like it would geek out, and all of a sudden it would go night night, and like then it gave me the
Oh
freaks of like
hell
the all
no.
of a sudden exactly, and all of a sudden like you're gonna hear Bluey come find me. So hopefully in the middle of the night your Bluey doll doesn't scare you and go not there, and all of a sudden you're going,
Better
oh my god, there's
not.
a ghost in the house.
I always make sure when we're doing our toy cleanup at the end of each day, I make sure that button is off. And that reminds
Yeah,
me of Furbies. Did you grow up with
that's what it
Furbies?
is. I think that was what I'm talking about,
Yes.
Furbies. The thing, because
Yes, because
remember
mine
it
did
was
that
like
in the
big
closet too.
eyes.
And I'm like,
Yes,
yes.
yay, this is why we're
Oh my
friends.
God. Yes, yes.
It's not
That
a wub wub,
totally.
it's called a Furby. Exactly. Creepy
I
little
don't know what you're talking
dolls.
about, like being in the baby and pushing out or something or other. I
I
don't know
think
what
like the
that's all
belly
about.
like would open up and then you could pull the egg out. I'll
Oh, I
find
don't
it and I'll
remember
show
that
you on
part.
our Instagram if you guys, so you guys can be like Peyton's crazy or not.
That's a special
Oh my
series,
god.
limited edition Furby. That's
Ooh,
hilarious.
limited edition survey probably. But okay, so I'm excited to talk to you about like our topic of the day because I feel like even right now I'm on a time limit. And this is kind of talking about, can moms really have me time? And I say that because like, to be honest, I love doing podcasts with you. This makes me feel like my mom me time. But I'm going, okay, we have an hour that the family.
Oh, 100%. Because it's like there's an ideal, like, picture we all have for either ourselves or like for other moms. Like, let's say you're not even a mom and you're just like, oh, yeah, moms get their free time. Like, if they're not with their kids, that's their me time and blah, blah, blah. But then there's the reality of it. It may look like we're having a grand old time and doing our thing, but what's going on in our heads is a completely different story. So it's a game changer just knowing that like you're literally just responsible for a kid even if they're next to you or not. It's definitely a thing. So, like, what kind of comes to your mind when you separate, like, what might be, what everyone thinks, like maybe a myth versus like what the reality is for you, like your own reality?
I think for me specifically, going from being like an employee of a business to then all of a sudden being a mom and a partner and kind of like trying to navigate what is an appropriate amount of time to take for yourself. Because I feel like if you're an employee for someone, you always get an hour break for lunch, right? And then on your drive to work and drive home, you can listen to your music, you can listen to the podcast you like to do. It's like I don't necessarily think that I ever felt guilty playing what I wanted to listen to in the car, or like during my lunch break, I would go and, I would have an hour, go eat what I want to do, not really have anyone else's timing. And then kind of like jumping into motherhood, then it's kind of like I always wanted to make sure my partner had an equal amount of time because he was working and he'd work from home. And so he was like at home. We have a new baby, all these different things. And so I was always like, I don't think I deserve that me time. But I would find like a myth would be that you need to like exactly know what to plan in that moment. For me, all I need is like an hour of my show or to go get my hair done and not to have to double check it around Cooper's nap time. That actually fills my cup up more than I think. So I don't think I need to go out and spend all this money on a big extravagant massage day and then XYZ. I think truthfully, it is not necessarily every time needs to be big and bold and crazy. I do just like a little time to go on a walk and not have to worry about getting back to put him down for sleep. Having the confidence, that they're going to be just fine. Don't worry about checking your phone every 5 minutes. Just have faith that it all works out. What comes to mind for you?
Yeah, totally. I mean, pretty darn similar because, like, in the ideal world, when I picture my me time, yes, getting pampered is the ideal situation. And, like, I definitely get that, but it doesn't mean I'm going to go do a full on spa day. And, sometimes I do have the luxury of doing that, but it's like you have to schedule these things. You have to actually, like, ask permission to have me time now that, like, we're moms and make sure that, like, our kids are taken care of and that whoever is available, whether it's our partners or like a sitter or a friend or whoever. And so it's just like with scheduling your own me time and like whether it's involved in like booking an appointment for something, or maybe it's just you putting your feet up and like putting the volume on the TV as loud as you want and not worrying about the kids, but like
Yeah.
with that comes extra responsibility of also doing more details of setting up your kid and your family for success. And so it's just, it's extra work to get in our me time, to be honest. And it's obviously so worth it because we literally need it just to be sane. But I know everyone has their own thresholds too. So that's another like kind of, side tangent of just like, okay, how much me time do you actually need? And like everyone's different. And also like what qualifies your me time, like what fills your cup, kind of like what you were saying, could look different for someone else. Like I feel like for me, I need to like, if I do have my own me time, I need a little bit of a heads up and like time to, I'm a little bit of a planner. So I like to make the best out of my time, whether it is just like tidying up the house, even though that's not really me time, right? But like sometimes that does qualify for us when we have like literally just fair game and I don't have to worry about Chloe like yelling at me for vacuuming or doing this and that. But in the ideal world, I do have enough time to like be like, okay, do I want to go out and do this and that? Or do I want to do this? So for me, I like to be in the mindset. Does that make sense? Like rather than just being like spontaneous, like, oh, I don't know what to do. I mean, I guess I could do this. And then I feel annoyed that I did that because like I did actually want to do something else, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that, it kind of also goes into like different stages of motherhood requires less or more me time, right? So like I feel like that at the age right now, Cooper's a lot more independent. He's not so attached to me physically, or like I guess also like he doesn't need my help with getting food anymore. Like we've really set him up in a way that he knows where his snacks are. We set up certain things throughout the day so he can be a little bit more independent. And so I find my desire for more me time at the moment is a lot less than it was when he was a newborn / like when we first moved here. Like yes, Cooper goes to daycare a couple days a week, but I'm still working during those times, but I'm finding other ways that I'm able to have time for myself. So I'm not requiring as much of that like actual, I guess, needing that recoup and reset ways. I'm finding that I can go and reset. If I go do a quick swim after I drop him off at daycare before I go to work, it actually for me feels a lot better than, other parts of my life. And I do think it's now that he's almost 3 and that, my husband's amazing with him and he's having different activities with different people. And so I do think different stages of motherhood do require less or more of that attention or that time for you to reset. But like when he was breastfeeding, I was always on a 2-hour time frame where I was like, okay, 2 hours, I need to be home. 2 hours, he needs to pump. Oh, my milk's coming in. I need to quickly step aside and, pump. And it's like each part of your life, you're going to need, more attention. Right now, I'm finding that as much as I'm not needing me time, I'm actually needing more Chase and I time, right? And so I think that there's different stages of life where I'm needing a little bit more of things. And I think the best avenue I have found to get what I need is to ask for help or ask for this or, hey, I'm needing some time for you and I to really connect. No phones involved or no computers or like after work. Let's just have some time for you and I. And that fills my cup up at the moment because we're so busy with life and work and kids, and Cooper's really fun and we're always having activities now. Like now that he's making friends and we're making friends, we're invited over to places all the time. So as a family, we don't have a lot of, that unique the 3 of us. So that's another thing I think is important to ask for what you're needing. If you're needing a day to go to the spa, or if you're needing a day where your phone is off, but you just go to the park or do whatever you want, and knowing that the kids are handled, asking for that is a really big thing for me.
Yes, that's big. And it's hard to do sometimes too. Like it takes a lot of practice and it's just like you don't want to get to the point where you're burnt out and then you're just like, and then you just let loose and just like kind of backfires. So that's not cute. I've been there. So it's just like ask for help when you need it before it gets a little too last minute. And like kind of what you're saying, there's different stages like of your own life, like your own motherhood and like the different stages of, your kid's development. Like you could be super touched out, like you were saying in that newborn stage when you're breastfeeding and you're just like holding the baby all the freaking time and like feeding them and like always in need. And, as we know, Chloe can be a needy toddler physically. And she literally wants me to hold her like a baby sometimes. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so silly, girl, but you're cute. And so, yeah. And like, really good point, and it's really hitting home for me too. It's just like sometimes me time could also mean like that time that you're craving with your partner too, because our marriage is a part of us, and so I just feel like that's another cup that needs to be filled to make, at least like for me, like to make me feel complete and like, that I'm feeling a very fulfilled life. And so I'm kind of lacking that connection right now with Ben, to be honest. And like with his parents just recently moving out here, I wish that we would have taken advantage like right away. Like we've been waiting so long for them to be out here and like, let's freaking book like 10 date nights in a row. Come on, let's do this. And we haven't yet. And that's also just life. But it's just like, this is that little reminder to ask for help. Like they've helped us and been there for us in other ways, but it's just like, let's ask them for help in this way. And, we're approaching the Miami, the Miami trip. So that will be fine. We'll get our me time. So we have that to look forward to. But yeah, that is definitely a little like additional like side factor that goes into all this for sure.
I find, just to kind of continue on with what you're saying, I just find that a lot of times, especially when Cooper was younger, if I'd go and get my hair done, right? So I have a lot of hair. My hair appointments take between 4 and 5 hours. I used to find this, like, it wasn't mom rage, and we could do a whole episode on mom rage, but like, I found a lot of frustration when I'd go to this thing and I would have one time a week that I would need to just, or one time a month or 6 months or whatever it was, right? When I would get a text that would disrupt my peace, right? It's like I'm trying to have some time for myself. I don't know if I would ever really be able to like fully unwind or be like able to enjoy it, because if I got a text that was like, where is this again? Or I can't get him down to sleep, then my mind would obviously then go, okay, I'm not relaxing anymore. Do you need me to come home? Do you need me to come home to help put him down for a sleep? Do you need me to help with that? And like, it's not that he would do it in a way that was like manipulative. Like he wasn't trying to take away from my me time or like take away from that moment, because I think he truly wanted to make sure that he was doing it right, or like the way he was going, or if Cooper wasn't going down for his sleep, like asking for help. But I don't know if they realize as partners or friends that like when you do that, it did take away from that time, that little time that we ask for to like unwind and kind of like just not be a mom for a couple hours, or just like have that time to not always be predicting what's the next thing from happening. And again, it doesn't happen anymore because one, we know our kid better and he's less needy. But I think for us looking into the future of having another child and having a toddler, like we want more kids. We're in the process of trying for a kid, all those things. That's something that like we've talked about is like, what did I enjoy about that newborn? Or like even the first 3 years, right? We're reflecting now on 3 years of being parents. You and I both, cheers to us on 3 years of successfully doing it, right? But like, what are some things that we both could do better the next time around so we can enjoy it a little bit more and have the partner not feel like our world stops when the kid happens? Because that was our reality. Our world completely stopped. We completely were like, holy cow, like no one really told us it was going to be like this, which whatever, no one needs to tell you how much it's going to change. It's the best thing we've ever done. But I do look forward to having a different set of expectations, but also asking more for me time, or hey, I'm going to go do this. You will be fine with this newborn child, or you'll be fine with Cooper, of course. I'm going to go do this, and my phone's just going to be, if you really need me, call me. And like, again, I never said that to him. So he never knew what to think in the beginning, and vice versa. I never called him. It's like, I need you to come home right now because Cooper can't do this. But I think now having those expectations to ask for them in the future is going to help us hopefully be successful to enjoy these next few years of our lives.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's true, like in the sense of setting yourself and whoever is watching the kids, like to be set up for success, because that's what it comes down to, too. It's just like either setting boundaries and like expectations, but sometimes we don't know either because it's a learning process, like all the way through. And like what you're learning right now with Chase and like whoever else might be watching Cooper is what you're going to take into having your next kiddo in the future. And that I love that you guys are already kind of like making mental notes too of how to move forward, because I'm that way a lot of the times too, of like, especially if it's a friend babysitting, right? Like maybe it's not Ben, and I'm not going to tell him, oh, text and call if you need anything. But like if it's someone else that isn't used to Chloe as much, I will say that like, okay, if anything comes up, like just, text me or call me, or I'll have my Apple Watch on, I'll get little notifications if something comes up. And they're usually like, oh, I got this, girl. Like, go do your thing, go have fun. And which is great. And usually no one really texts about anything, and that's great. But then I also put it out there with them. I am available. So if it does come up, I put that on myself. But at the same point, that's the mother in me too. I have to like be hands-on and available and accountable. And I would hope in an emergency, if I didn't even say something, that they would contact me, of course. But it's just like, you have to fully play things out in your head of how you actually want it to be, and then set those realistic expectations for the other people. And then, that's just being responsible too. Extra work, right? But then like in the long run, especially if those people continue to watch your kiddo, they will know. And especially when it comes to our partners, right? Like they're not always in our shoes if they have their own me time and then we're asking them stuff. That's a very rare situation. So they don't fully get the other side a lot, but yeah, so it's definitely a thing.
I have found, and I want to just like make sure we highlight that our partners also equal and deserve equal me time. I think there
Hmm.
is definitely a movement right now of like women needing their me time and self care and self love. But I have to also really highlight the fact that our husbands or our wives or our partners who are also like the co-carer for our kids, we need to remember to also like encourage them to have that time. And I found with my relationship and my partner, he it took a long time for him to go, hey, I'm actually needing a little bit of time for myself to recoup and to kind of get into, you know, an identity outside of this. Because, as a full time employee at a brewery, he's working all the time. He's busy, busy, busy. And, yes, he has like the 10-minute drive home. But sometimes you want to just go, up, I've been tired all day, take the kid, go. But also remember, they've been responsible to other people. They've been doing all these tasks. They've been kicking ass all day. I think it's really cool to be like, hey, I know you've had a hard day. Do you want to go on a quick run or do you want to go and take an hour? And yes, as a wife, that adds on an extra hour of, whatever stresses you've had. But I found Chase is a better partner when he's had some time to recoup for himself. And it's very rare that he'll go, oh, yeah, I'd actually really like to go do an hour this or an hour that. But I think it's important to also highlight that our spouses work extremely hard for us and whatever capability that is. And if you are the sole employee, like if you are the breadwinner of the family and your partner's home, they're just as equal to like ask you to do the same thing. But I think for me, giving Chase the grace and encouraging him to have me time for himself and not just making it a feminine thing is really critical as well because they work hard, they're tired, they come home, they also need a break. Like they need some time for themselves to do those hobbies that they enjoy. So like they're not just, tied to work, parenthood, sleep. And I think that's been a big takeaway for us is he wants to go do a run or a walk or go do something. Not, and Chase is not someone who goes, I need to go get a beer at the bar on the way home. He is actually like the opposite of that. I can't tell you the last time he's drank out or like drank at the brewery before he comes home. He's like definitely the first one to get into the brewery so he can knock it out. So he has more time with us in the evening.
Oh,
So to kind of reward him, or not reward him, but like since he gets up and gets into the brewery so early, he gets to get home by 3 or 4. That's like extra time that I want him to go and do some things before we get to the dinner madness rush or whatever. Cause then he can be more present.
yeah.
He's excited to be there. He unwinds from the day's stresses and he kind of compartmentalizes that, puts those away for tomorrow and comes home and is like 100% dad and husband. And that's been a really, really nice change for us. So highly encourage having your partners go do things for themselves too.
Yes, yes. I mean, they need it for the same reasons that we need it, and like we were addressing earlier, like we all have our own thresholds and like whatever else is going on, like whoever is working or not working and like, find some balance within the relationship and within the family, however that looks like. It doesn't have to be what's it called, tit for tat, but like, just like whatever feels right to each person that makes the whole family feel balanced in a way. And like I think for me being, stay at home mom and now finally having Chloe have some school time, I'm feeling a little bit more refreshed. I was starting to lose my marbles a little bit at the end of last year. So I'm glad to be back. Hello. And I think the fact that Ben, kind of like Chase, like they have long hours, they work really hard. And like, I mean, Ben at least has a long commute. So that really sucks. But I also know sometimes that's some wind down time for him. Not ideal, right? But like at least like maybe he's able to put on the music that he wants, or like he gets that little bit of a time period to hopefully try to detach from work so that he can be a little bit more on the family mindset when he gets home. But like it's hard when he gets home late each night, so he doesn't have a lot of wiggle room to do what he wants if he did have that freedom or even energy at the end of the day during the weeknights. But when he wants to do something on the weekend, like he's really into fishing, he's a big fishing guy, so he will do that. And I think for me, especially like the way that my mind works, like I said earlier, it's just like I love a good heads up. So like if he's able to at least give me, maybe we don't have any Saturday plans, like Saturday morning plans, and like a couple days ahead of time he'll say, "Hey babe, like I was thinking about going fishing Saturday." And it doesn't mean he's going to go fishing from 6 a.m. to like 1 p.m. It's usually just for a few hours early on. And I'm like, yeah, cool. As long as like I have the mentality like, okay, I'm going to be with Chloe. Let me figure out what I'm going to do with her that morning. And then I'll kind of like be set. But I love that he asks for that. And like, Yeah. So yeah, that has been seeming to work for our family just fine. And we're feeling balanced. And like, I really want to prevent feeling resentful. So I think that's the biggest thing here is just like, if I ask for what I need, he asks for what he needs. And we also offer it when we can read our partners, like that really comes into play. So yeah.
Yeah. I think for us, something that we've done is we've just designated a night a week where it's like, hey, like Thursday, Chase, do you want to go play tennis or do you want to go and have like Thursday nights be a run night? So then I just know what to anticipate. So like for us, he just knows he can go in early. He is like his schedule is very, he makes his schedule, if that makes sense. And so like for him, he knows if he goes in early, he brews, then he's got like whatever time he's done, then from then on he can kind of do what he wants to do when he comes home. So that way I know how to plan ahead for the week. The expectation is, Thursday nights I cook, like we both kind of know what to anticipate, and that way he can kind of plan what he wants to do in that time. And I would say most of the time he's like, oh, I don't really need it, or I'd rather go to the farmer's market here or do that. But at least he knows like on Thursday nights that's his night. I do swimming lessons, we come home, Coops and I plan dinner, and if he's home for dinner, great. If not, like we just kind of know what the plan is, and that kind of helps both of us know how the week looks. And again, let me make it clear, I'm not just giving him one night a week that he can do whatever he wants. Like he's a free guy. He can do what he wants when he wants, if that makes sense. He's not on a schedule. We're not really routine oriented people. Like I don't need heads up. If he just calls me and says, hey, Nick called me and said, do you want to go fishing? I'd be like, cool, absolutely, go and do it. Because I don't know, we kind of meal prep in advance and I do things, and I don't know if my mind works identically same as yours, hence why our friendship works, because everyone is so different and life
we
is
balance
good.
each other.
Exactly. So I don't need a heads up, or if I'm someone who, if Nick comes into the brewery and goes, hey, the swell's great, do you want to go out for a fish? You go. Like as long as you've got that stuff sorted. And he's pretty good about, not doing it as an all the time thing, but I'd rather have him go. Like I highly encourage you to get out, go do things, because I don't find him asking. Yeah. So I kind of just think to like wrap that up, trying to like, know what's best for you, know how your mind works. If you need the time and the space to ask, for heads up so you can mentally prepare on how to make your night go smoother, ask your partner. Don't, if you don't like spontaneity or whatever, or if it like doesn't work with your kids, some kids expect parents around for dinner or expect, if their routine is a little bit off, then it kind of can spiral. So like, know your family, know what works well for you, but just also, have faith. Don't forget to ask for help for yourself, or ask for that me time, or if your partner needs it, or if you're noticing they're being, a little bit tense or rugged, check in and see when the last time they've had some me time for themselves,
Yes, be your own advocate too. Like whatever is kind of like going off in your head to let you fully relax during your me time. Like we're preaching, ask for help. Yep. So that'll wrap it up.
That'll wrap it up for you guys today. Thanks for recording. Stay tuned. We've got a lot of big things on the horizon as we're approaching our 1-year anniversary. And I love doing this with you. Thanks for being my bestie from afar, my bestie on the phone, and all the things. I can't wait to be reunited with you in a few months. We're going to the States and we'll fill you guys in soon. We're just kind of making our plans for a holiday. But that should do it for today.
All righty. Well, then we'll catch you guys next time. Bye.
Thanks for joining us on this week's episode of Mom Meets World. If you enjoyed listening, please give us a like, subscribe, and find us on Instagram at Mom Meets World Pod.
Because sometimes you just need another mom to remind you that you're getting it right more than you're getting it wrong. See you next time.